Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to our Horizen Weekly Insider number 49. Today is July the 16th, and happy Thursday to you all. Please remember that this call is being recorded and is available in our YouTube live now, as well as in our podcast for you to check out later. Please also remember to be asking your questions on Menti so we can have our regular Q&A session at the end. So without further ado, I'll pass the word now to Luca to give us the amazing engineering updates.
And I'm going to involve also Rob in the discussion because, today we really have amazing news. Welcome,
Well,
Rob.
I'm really happy to be. Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be part of the discussion.
So, yesterday we had something like probably one of the most important days in our history, right? With the Zendoo beta launch.
Absolutely. Yeah. I guess, do you want me to do the honors of talking about the launch and what it entails?
Please.
Yeah. My pleasure. So thank you, Luca. You're exactly right. Yesterday was the most important day of the project thus far over the last 3-year history with the release of the Zendoo beta. So last month we had the beta preview release, which itself was a really big deal. But there was a reason why we made it a beta preview and not the full beta, was because it didn't have the full maturity of what we just released yesterday. And what we wanted to do with the earlier release was to get something out there ahead of time, particularly for developers to be able to grab the SDK and start understanding what it is, the magnitude of the release that was upcoming. And that release happened yesterday. So huge congratulations to the entire team, and in particular, all of the developers on our side that made the technology possible. From everything from Alberto inventing the protocol and architecting it to everyone designing, coding, testing, launching the infrastructure to make this stuff possible, and then of course everyone who supported the release itself, from the marketing side, the BD side, working with partners and getting the news out there.
Yeah, I would also like to do my congratulations to all the people that made this possible, and some of them unfortunately are not here because they are already focusing on the next developments, because we have other. There is other exciting stuff to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And so why don't we take a minute just to talk about what was in the release and why it's such a big deal. So the bottom line is we just released the first decentralized, fully customizable sidechain protocol in blockchain. Hands down, that itself is a massive accomplishment. And why does that matter? So all of the sidechains thus far that have been on market, and there's some fantastic technologies out there that are already getting some significant use to them, have, to some extent, in some part of their value chain, some element of centralization, whether that's, and typically what that is on the certifier side. So you typically have kind of a closed set of certifiers that are trusted certifiers, and you have to have that element of trust to make sure that what happens on a sidechain is actually valid before it commits to the main chain. So what Zendoo brings us is it decentralizes that process, which not only does that go in the spirit of blockchain technology and the Nakamoto dream that started with Bitcoin, we've extended that to Zendoo. So we've extended that idea of decentralization with Zendoo into the sidechain domain. Now, why it's important is because it scales much more significantly than does a centralized solution. And it's one that actually, by removing trust in particular people, you can actually have what we're calling commercial grade security in the process. So there's, that's the big picture of what's going on here. And ultimately, this enables businesses and developers to actually build real world applications onto our platform. So before this, so this is on a parallel testnet. So let's keep that in perspective. We still have a 4-phase process. This is phase 1 on a parallel testnet to migrate this to our actual testnet, and then ultimately to migrate this to our main chain. There is a process to do that. We're not there yet, but this is the most significant delivery thus far because this is the bulk of the code base, the bulk of the technology that enables the system to be possible. Now, the big pivot for the project here is that before this, we were a Bitcoin-like blockchain that really just had a single useful product, which was our cryptocurrency Zen. Now, of course, we did some POCs for some other product ideas like a messaging protocol, but none of that really gained traction because we always were inhibited by having just the UTXO-based main chain. and lack of scalability for applications, in the sense that, like Ethereum and these other application platforms were just much better suited for application development. That's why we were focusing on Zendoo. And Zendoo isn't just the interoperability protocol to say that we can do sidechains. We actually launched it with Lattice, which is a proof of stake consensus protocol. Now, one with a fully functioning SDK for application developers to start building on top of that. So, Luca, do you want me to go into the beta features in particular, or do you want to maybe run through some of them?
Well, they are a lot, first of all.
They are a lot.
Yeah, maybe we can just mention a few that they are very, very big. I mean, one of them, the cross-chain transfer protocol, is a protocol just by itself. But that's super important, and we always repeat that, because that, for example, is something that allows the sidechain declaration, the forward transfers from the main chain to the sidechains, the ability to receive backward transfer from the sidechain to the main chain, and so on. This is just one of the many beta features. We could mention many others. This is just one, so it's really, really a big deal.
Yeah, so maybe some of the big ticket ones. So I mentioned already this Lattice, this proof of stake consensus protocol. So if you take our SDK and you launch a sidechain, you're getting a blockchain out of the box, in the sense that you're able to launch a proof of stake blockchain that comes with all of the complexities abstracted away for the SDK developer, so that we push the development up the tech stack to the application element there. It comes with built-in transactions enabling coins to transfer within the sidechain, and then back, like Lucas said, the backward transfer back to the main chain. It comes with basic SNARK, threshold signature verification circuit, so that you can actually authenticate withdrawal certificates. And importantly, it has extensible transactions and boxes, so the application developer can introduce custom logic and data within the sidechain. So this isn't meant to be an end-to-end solution in itself. This is meant to be the baseline tool, so that developers now can extend the SDK into application-specific domains.
And we probably don't even know in which way the developers that are out there, how they will use this customization opportunity. I mean, we provide the ability of customizing all the elements like boxes, as you were saying, and it will be up to them deciding how to use this possibility to address their use cases, to create their blockchain application that could be even public, but also private, and so on. So this is huge.
Yeah, exactly, and this is good and bad. So I'll say it's great from the perspective of our unbounded design commitment, right? Our tagline, because we want a general purpose computing platform that you can do a whole bunch of stuff on. Now, whenever I talk to say investors who are looking to build applications or thinking about using the tool, or even say like software companies that are looking to use the Zendoo as one of their product offerings, they always ask, well, what's the focus point? Like, where do you really see this product fitting into the market? And in that sense, if we were just a pure startup, it would be a tough story to sell, because I'm saying, hey, we have something extremely generalizable, which could mean that we're not focusing on anything in particular. But I'll tell you, our approach here as an organization, and you'll hear a flavor of this more as we go through the rest of the live stream, is we're tackling the market from a bottom-up and a top-down perspective. So the bottom-up, and you're going to hear a whole bunch of updates on where we are with developer community building, is we're focusing hard on providing the tools for developers now to take the Zendoo technology, the SDK, and extend it into a whole bunch of different application domains, and just have this kind of creative groundswell of activity, include bounties, include various subsidies, different competitions, hackathons, and there'll be a whole bunch of that to support this ground up kind of creativity that we want to see in applications. On the other side, we have partners like Horizen Labs that are focusing very specifically on commercial use cases and working with companies. And we're also actively trying to bring in other software development companies into the ecosystem to start considering Zendoo a tool or a product to fit into their suite, so that when they have blockchain clients, that Zendoo is just a better fit for than, say, another product out there like Hyperledger, that they actually plug out our toolkit and introduce clients into the ecosystem from the business perspective. And that's more of the top down, trying to work with creating real world value in particular verticals. So,
and you spoke again about the ability of customizing the applications. We are also using this opportunity ourselves by creating a first example of Sidechain, which is the Lambo registry. We talked already a bit about it.
great
And,
name.
yeah, we changed the name from car registry to Lambo registry, which is much more exciting.
Obviously.
And we are also going to provide much more documentation to allow developers to understand better what are the steps required to reach something like that. So to customize the SDK in a way that you can build such an application. But then from there, of course, you could think about a number of other sidechains that are of that kind. So, for example, the cat registry, dog registry, we also talk about them in the past, which are all great examples at the end. And also totally different sidechains.
No, absolutely. And just to layer on the good news here, we also had part of this beta release was Sphere by Horizen sidechain version was released. Do you want to mention that a little bit, Luca?
Sure, that's graphical. That's our flagship application, but now it comes out with a special in this special version, which is main chain to sidechain operations in full mode. It's developers will be able to use it as a graphical wallet to easily create sidechains. Easily performing forward transfer from the main chain to the sidechain they have created, see the list of existing sidechains, and much more. This is just the first step of Sphere by Horizen sidechain version, let's call it like that. The official number is 2.0.0. And but we will continue developing it because ultimately we want it to be part of the, let's say, developer toolkit that he will use while creating his own blockchain application, so that he can customize a module of Sphere by Horizen to allow its users accessing the custom app he has created, use the custom operations he has developed on the sidechain, and also do all the related operations like forward transfer, backward transfers, and so on. So this will be more and more interesting, and we'll keep you posted on the further developments. But we are very happy to announce that today we have this first version of Sphere by Horizen sidechain integrating sidechains out, and it's out for Linux and Windows. Mac release will just follow.
And I'll say a note on this is this means we have to open source it. So we've been saying this for a while, and it's part of our plan. So now that we have this development, the next step for us is to go through what exactly do we need to do to open source it in a safe way or a responsible way. And there it's really just architectural review, code audit, and then I want to open source it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And answering Rolf, I will now say this is a Lamborghini registry. You wanted me to spell it full.
Awesome.
Cool. I think that's it for now, Rob. What do you say?
Yeah, sounds good. Well, that was a great update. Thank you, Luca.
Thank you, Rob. And I would like to introduce now Maurizio, because speaking about the car registry application, Lamborghini registry application, we are also taking the chance to expand our documentation. So, Maurizio.
Okay, first of all, I haven't updated the documentation with the new name Lamborghini registry, so I'll have to do that later
Okay.
tonight. We are close to the delivery of a first draft of documentation, and I'm pleased with what we've been able to do in this few days of work. And we have around 30 pages of documentations where the idea is to take the user from a high-level introduction of the system down to make them able to customize their own application and run their own specific distributed application on a sidechain. The introduction is a general view of the reason why we decided to scale the possibility of coding applications on a blockchain through the Sidechain system. And then we go to more specifically to talking to the developer to the setup of the development environment. And then we give an introduction about how a blockchain is represented in the code with the objects that are defined and the classes that are defined. And we describe the cross-chain transfer protocol and the Latus consensus. And after that, we look at the simple app that is an example that comes with the SDK that is in reality is a blockchain. So we just by using elements that are included in the SDK, you can already run a simple blockchain that can receive Zens from the main chain, exchange Zens inside the sidechain, and then send them back. And that is done without any customization. And we explain the classes and the transactions and what is in that app so that the developer can look at the code and understand what it does. And the last part of this of this documentation is a guide, a step-by-step guide to extend the simple app to code a specific application, a specific logic into a sidechain. And we use the Lamborghini registry app to as an example of what a developer would need to do to customize it that way. We could then close with node communication, so all the API to talk to the user can use to talk to a node. And this is gonna be the first draft is gonna be ready tomorrow, and then from next week on, Gustavo will start working with the team on this to provide an outside developer look at this to make sure that it's clear enough and that we refine it and add all the missing information and fix what is not clear so that we can make it better and make it make sure that it can really be used by developers to be able to understand it and start being able to code. And that's where we are, Luca.
Thank you, Maurizio. That's all, I guess. Back to Angie.
Awesome. Great way to start our weekly insider. So let's continue with Spencer to give us the Helpdesk updates.
Happy Thursday, particularly all the Zen enthusiasts who've been joining us. As usual, the Helpdesk graphics are posted to the weekly Insider Companion channel. As far as the Helpdesk status for today, July 16, 2020, customer satisfaction over the past 7 days is an atypical 3.9 out of a scale of 5 on basis of a low 8 user reviews. As I say, this is an unusually low satisfaction report, but a low total number of reviews meant that 2 unsatisfiable users had an outsized effect on the average. We may have actually seen a flippening event in that the faucet is not the source for the majority of Helpdesk tickets. We have 41% of the tickets that were faucet-based, but 59% were for other issues, I should say. Prominent faucet issues, no surprise, use of a VPN to connect to the faucet. Improved messaging on the faucet site has reduced the total number of this class of tickets. Once again, the scarcity of IP addresses is causing difficulty for faucet users, particularly in underserved countries such as Nigeria. Most prominent sphere issue, typically seed phrase recovery, most frequent topic for Sphere by Horizen. We usually have very good success in guiding people into recovering their wallets. All in all, sort of a typical week with a lower number of Helpdesk tickets, which I suppose is a good thing. And that concludes the report from the Helpdesk.
Thank you, Spencer. Now let's welcome Ruben to give us the UX updates.
Hey guys, Ruben here. Happy Thursday. I'll be giving you today the UX report. So we've been working this week on the newsroom, which as an FYI, it is a news aggregator for all the Horizen news. And on the faucet, we are working on the auto translation feature. And We have been working on this because it has been hard to keep up on all the manual translations with all the new updates. And hopefully this will help alleviate this work and for tracking all the languages. We have also tested the new Sidechain, testnet Sidechain version of Sphere by Horizen. By the way, shout out to all the engineering team, which has done a great work. And everything on the testing side was successful. And that's it from the UX department. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Ruben. Let's welcome now Rowan to give us the BD updates.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. So primary focus from me at the moment, clearly it's been a huge week from a technology perspective. And now the really important thing is to get that in the hands of as many developer houses as physically possible. So that's my main focus at the moment, starting with specifically cryptocurrency and blockchain focused developer housing, and kind of going through a phased approach. So I've reached out to quite a large number of the top and most reputable blockchain development houses. And we're going through a kind of 3-phase approach with each of these companies. First up, getting them up to speed with who we are, what we're building. The reason for this is that although the technology the engineering team has just delivered is groundbreaking, it's still relatively unknown in the blockchain dev house world. So we're kind of starting from scratch, explaining why this is so revolutionary and why they should really pay attention, jump in and start using it. Then phase 2 is to actually get them actively engaged in our ecosystem, get them spinning up sidechains, trialing out everything that's included in beta and providing some really valuable feedback back through to the engineering team so that we can make sure that we hone this down throughout the beta period before we go into mainnet. And then phase 3 is actually having them add Horizen's tech stack alongside their existing technology solutions. So if they're currently offering IBM Hyperledger type stuff or Polkadot or whatever the case may be, maybe they're just building on Ethereum, we want to see Horizen sidechains as an offering alongside those solutions. Early feedback has been actually very, very positive, which is no surprise. Already working on agreements with 3 blockchain development houses, one of them in the USA, one of them is global. They have offices pretty much all over the place, originally started in India, but primarily working out of the US and Europe. And there's another one that's a little bit more local to me here in Panama that is also interested in jumping in. So far we have 3. That is by no means acceptable to me. I'm looking to get as many as physically possible on board and using this, but I'll be providing updates as we continue. Another thing that's worth mentioning, obviously this is a call for Zen Blockchain Foundation, but as Rob mentioned earlier, there's also a commercial entity called Horizen Labs that's out working on design partnerships. So really trying to create a collaborative relationship with enterprise businesses or game developers or whoever the target market may be to actually bring real solutions to market, test them throughout beta, and then get them into production. So I'm quite lucky to be wearing 2 hats and involved in that side as well, and making some good progress there that Horizen Labs will be announcing at some point in the not too distant future. That's pretty much it from me at the moment. I'll pass over to Vano if he wants to jump in with an update. I know he's been working with a pretty exciting up-and-coming exchange, so maybe he's got a word to say about that.
Hello everyone, thanks Rowan. So yeah, on the regional front, Whitebit is working hard on the integration, and you should hear good news on that front very, very soon, I think. Obviously, I would not say the date yet, but very, very soon, yeah. And also, as you already know, we are also expanding our reach and integrations with leading reporting projects and services like Flipside Crypto, CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, and others. And soon you should also see Zen integrated into CoinMarketCap's new Signal service, which works quite similar to Blockfolio Signal, similar to CoinGecko Beam. And it's a new service, and we should soon be integrated there. And that's all from me. Back to you, Angie.
Awesome. Great updates, guys. So now let's welcome Lucy to give us the marketing updates.
Hello everyone, happy Thursday. And first and foremost, congratulations to the engineering team for releasing Zendoo beta. And then also congratulations to the entire Horizen community and all stakeholders. So this is by far the most important release that we have delivered to the world. And then this will bring a ton of benefits and opportunities to Horizen ecosystem and everyone in it. So big congrats again to everyone. The official announcement went out yesterday. We sent out a newsletter this morning as well. So Rob and Luca talked about why this beta release of Zendoo is so important and why we should be excited, especially for developers at this point. So this is basically the ultimate tool developers can use to build any kind of blockchain system and decentralize the applications they want. Instructions of using Zendoo beta are provided on our early adopter program website, keep.horizen.global. So, and right now we are rewarding people who launch a sidechain on Horizen. So on our developer platform, HDE, there's a bounty for creating a sidechain. So the first 10 sidechains will earn 15 Zen. So there are other bounties also on HDE. So both they're both sidechain and non-sidechain related. So currently there are 7 live bounties with a total of 260 Zen. So if you're a developer, definitely check them out. So now, to celebrate the Zendoo beta release, we are hosting a giveaway of $300 in Zen. If you're regular users of our faucet, you will see it very soon. So make sure you visit our faucet and claim some free Zen every day. And we have also extended our swag store sale to the end of this month. You can use the code JULYSHIELD to get a 15% off store-wide. So hope you like these offers. So don't go anywhere. We have a lot more exciting announcements and activities after this beta release, such as the Lambo registry on Sidechain Mauricio just mentioned. So I won't give more spoilers. Just stay tuned. So lastly, with all the major deliveries and updates from our products and technology side, we have made just a ton of updates and improvements on our different websites, including launch new sites. So just really want to give a big shout out to our designer Linda and our UX team Gustavo, Tuan, and Juan for making that happen in such with all the hard work in such short amount of time, and also Erica for all the announcement and communication support. Thank you, everyone. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Lucy. Now let's continue with Jonathan to give us the growth updates.
Thanks, Angie. Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. And of course, congratulations to the engineering team. On the growth side, so we finally launched the live version of BlocksJump. So it's on the Android store. So you don't even need any special links now. You just search BlocksJump and it's there live for everybody to play. I just have to say, again, thank you for everybody who helped us test it. And we're really excited. We already got some metrics back based on what BlocksJump used to get in terms of downloads. Since launching with Horizen, they've increased that by 800%. So I think people really like the idea of being able to earn some Zen. So next step there is basically to bring BlocksJump into the faucet itself, so you don't have to download anything. So the timeline for that basically is approximately 4 weeks. So right now what we're doing is we're working on reworking the wireframes to make it compatible with the web. Obviously some things will be different if you play on your phone or if you play on your computer. On the back end, for example, the controls have to change, right? So you don't have a touch screen all the time. So you probably have to use some kind of keys. And then we have to look at the whole security aspect and authentication aspect. So I would really like to see it up within 4 weeks, which would be awesome. And I think would add a lot more depth to the faucet and be part of the transition to Zen Community Hub. Ultimately, we want a lot of games, not just BlocksJump. And if anybody knows people who are interested in integrating their games with Zen and put them on our Community Hub, please feel free to reach out to me. Another big change that's coming to the faucet is the tiered referral program. So basically the way that it works now is if you refer a friend to the faucet and they claim, you get a bonus spin worth up to some amount. You're still going to get that. But with this new program, you will actually make a percentage of every time that they come to the faucet. So it's just an added incentive for people to refer their friends and family. So we're really looking forward to that. And it's just another way that we're looking to give back to our community members. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Now let's continue with Rosario for product and engineering.
Hey guys, congratulations to the engineering team. Full focus this week was on beta, so that was every department in this organization was working towards getting that out yesterday. So that was great milestone for the project. We are moving forward with growing and nurturing our developer community. So I look forward to seeing the many applications powered by the Horizen network. What's next for beta? Immediately continuing to expand our documentation, as Mehdi mentioned. And the car registry example is going to be very important because it'll showcase developers how to customize the application. And we can expect a competition on the Horizen developer environment soon after that, because that's really what's holding us off to launching a competition for community developers to build applications on the Horizen network. And of course, shortly after that, we will also hold a webinar for the HEAP Horizen Early Adopter Program participants as well. We have a lot of work ahead of us. Rob mentioned a four-phase approach to taking beta to mainnet. So the next few weeks will be important in terms of just refining the remaining activities that we have, the tasks that we have, and making sure that we have a plan in place that's streamlined to take us to production. Congratulations, and that's it for now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Rosario. Rolf, would you like to share any words of wisdom or updates?
Sure. Thank you, Angie. We want to, as we go along, celebrate the milestones and accomplishments, and this is a big one. So congratulations to the engineering team, the software development team. Congratulations to everybody who got us to where we're going here. And so what this shows everybody is that we have a team that's able to accomplish difficult, challenging, and meaningful things. And that's not common. And so that's something, in addition to the milestone accomplishment, sure, there's more work to do, but take a minute and recognize this is a really big deal and celebrate it. And in accomplishing this, we've put together a team, a process, a way of working that's going to be able to continue on and do even more difficult, challenging, and meaningful things. Thanks to everybody. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Rolf. And now let's welcome Rob for the final part and Q&A session.
That was a perfect summary, Rolf. I really like the way you framed that. On my end, okay, besides the obvious huge news of Zendoo beta going live, I want to point everyone to Anthony Pompliano on the Pomp podcast yesterday published an interview with Michael Sonnenschein, who's the managing director of Grayscale Investments. And I haven't yet listened to it. It's on my playlist for today. But I saw Vana was already commenting on it, so I was just getting a sneak preview with those comments. And apparently he did a very good job of explaining why Zen was included in the Grayscale DCG portfolios and why Grayscale launched a Horizen investment trust for accredited investors. So catch it or check it out if you get a chance. I will be doing so later today. Now, besides the big Zendoo release, another accomplishment here from the engineering team is we now have an FCAS subcomponent score for code improvements of a 901, or at least this is what it was on Monday when I checked, which puts us into the S category for code improvements. So this is just one of a few categories for developer behavior that is now getting into the absolute highest possible category that they have. So big congratulations to the team there as well. And something that is certainly complementary to the work that's done here in the foundation. And we often give some hints of updates from one of our biggest partners, Horizen Labs. I'll give you another hint of an update here is Horizen Labs, now that the Zendoo protocol is released in beta form, is now rushing for its big product, which is the SNARK circuit, which is the commercial grade circuit now for the company will be plugging into the Zendoo protocol to now offer as a product on the marketplace. So that's very exciting for us here in the community and the foundation, is to see that there are companies out there, and obviously we have a lot of affiliations with Horizen Labs, but it's great to see a company actually building a commercial grade product that will be making use of the Zendoo protocol. So big news there, and expect some more firm updates forthcoming. The work has been ongoing for some time now, but now that Zendoo beta is published, work is accelerating. On another note entirely, so I had a great call with Lucy and Jonathan yesterday with a Zcash team member who's working on something called Crypto in Context. And this is just a really cool educational effort for disadvantaged communities around the world to educate them on crypto, educate them on personal finance, personal banking, how to take control of their finances, and just make good decisions and make good decisions with some of the tools that we have available in the cryptocurrency world. So just preliminary conversation, I just want to give a shout out to the Crypto in Context team, and Josh, who's running that effort with Zcash. It's a fantastic effort. I love the social community building aspects that they're doing there. And if there's anything we can do to be part of it, which is what we were talking to them about, I'm personally very happy to do that, and looking forward to seeing how the foundation could participate. So, and this goes to a bit of what Rolf was saying, is we've come a really long ways of project from 2017 in the early days of bootstrapping this project, and the team, the quality of the team, and the level of effort and output that we're able to produce today is absolutely phenomenal, and orders of magnitude better than it was in 2017. Now that said, is not many people in the industry really understand what we're doing. So now our next big focus is, and you've heard this in various elements of this call, particularly on the BD side, is we're focusing hard on partnerships to not only get Zendoo and the Horizen blockchain out there into the public, and into the hands of software developers, dev shops that are focusing on blockchain clients, but we're working hard on other partnerships as well, because this is already a maturing industry. It's still in its early days as an industry, but there are many elements of the industry that, quite frankly, Horizen has not been participating in. So there are a lot of people in the crypto industry that really don't know what we're doing. So now a big effort is to get our technology and get a better understanding out there into the current ecosystem, in the blockchain cryptocurrency ecosystem, so that people really understand what we're doing. So we're focusing hard on partnerships that can make that possible. So dev shops are the obvious effort there, and there are a bunch of others that Rowan mentioned. But going beyond dev shops, we're also looking at chain accelerator companies, projects, groups that already have very strong networks in crypto to accelerate things like developer community building, really turbocharge our hackathon efforts, and just get the word out there to the crypto community. These people can also help out with BD in the sense that raise awareness to companies of the product offerings that we have available now, in particular with Zendoo. And this is a big focus here, because we've come so far as a project, and I could not be more bullish and more confident with the capabilities of our team. But we're not going to make the serious impact in the community, in this community, this industry, and ultimately in the world that I want us to have, unless we actually build the right alliances and partnerships to really amplify what we're doing. So that's what we're focusing on now. And we've laid the groundwork to be able to do fantastic work. The release of Zendoo beta is a huge signal to the market that we can do very sophisticated, complex engineering work to solve problems that the industry has been trying to solve for years, but haven't been able to do yet, and we have. So this is just a first step, and really, I view this as more of a signal of much more to come. So I'll leave it here, and Angie, back to you.
Awesome. So let's start with the Q&A session. So it says, Zen is used by nodes and master nodes to secure network. In an event, Zen currency goes through a massive increase in price and people sell Zen. Will it disrupt the node system?
So the node system is it was designed to be a bit of an equilibrium model, in the sense that the network scales out as the ROI increases. And there's a fixed supply of Zen that goes to pay node operators in the two tiers that we have: secure nodes and super nodes. And each of these tiers has its own independent funding pool. The pool is fixed in Zen, so obviously as the market value of Zen fluctuates, the ROI to infrastructure providers or node operators varies, and it does vary quite significantly with volatility in Zen. Now, what we've noticed is, just empirically, we have much less volatility in the size of our network than one would expect if it was a purely ROI-driven network. So, and the explanation for that would be we have plenty of strategic partners that are probably running nodes, right? And they're running nodes because they're making an investment in voicing confidence in the long-term prospects of this project. And of course, on top of that, we have plenty of people in the masternode community that join specifically because they see a high ROI number. So I would expect that on the margin, if the ROI, the effective ROI, decreases, then I would expect that there would at least be pressure to say de-scope the size of the network. So you would probably see on the margin node operators dropping off. But thus far, I would say that the network has been ridiculously resilient, actually, to the volatility in the network. And I'm much more bullish. I'm again, no price prediction here, but I'm so bullish on just the prospects of where we're going as a project that I think our network will scale as just we gain greater awareness, and I expect more partners to come in and support the network.
Great, thank you. So the next question is, would something like a silver-backed crypto, similar to PAXG, be a good use case for a hypothetical sidechain application?
So I'm a huge fan of any of these types of experiments. And you see these types of experiments coming from Bitcoin to other blockchain projects out there. And I absolutely expect to see them in Horizen. I welcome any of them here. Personally, as a finance guy myself, I'm a big fan of these types of financial applications. So anytime we can try to meld the old financial world, say like the physical metals, I'm just personally a fan of, and being able to meld that with the technology we have here, at least to distribute the such asset-backed coins to marketplace, I think is interesting. Now, I can't speak to this from like a regulatory perspective or anything like that, but the technology is surely possible with Zendoo to do something like that. Now, that's a statement in itself that I should caveat. The digital side of that is perfectly feasible, but if you're going to ever take custody and issue tokens on something that's physical, that's off-chain, clearly you have to trust the provider that's actually doing that. So that's a whole other problem that. I'm just happy to see experiments here if people want to bring those kinds of projects.
Thank you. And the last question is, what's next now that Zendoo Beta has been released?
Oh my God, we have so much going on. So the big thing is making Zendoo useful to people. So things like the car registry app are absolutely critical. Documentation absolutely critical. And documentation is so critical that we're actually turning this into its own project. And a project that doesn't have a termination date. So we'll have multiple ongoing deliverables to continuously improve our documentation and just to have a whole bunch of how-tos and tutorials out there. Then it really comes to the pragmatic stuff of we need massive community building, developer community building, tons of hackathons, lots of bounties. I'm super excited about HDE, our bounty project. So HDE.horizen.global. Check it out if you're a developer. The fact we've already loaded a few hundred Zen worth of bounties is just a starting point. But this is part of a joint effort or multi-tiered effort of turbocharging Horizen, like open source community development within the ecosystem. So I would say that's really the big focus. On the commercial side, the announcement that I had about Horizen Labs working on a snark circuit for Zendoo, I think is absolutely fantastic. And that the company itself is pushing hard on commercial partnerships, and that would be the product that it plugs for the commercial partnerships. There's a lot of really exciting stuff. And then fast forward a little bit further into the year as we're maturing Zendoo from beta so that we can have a production release on mainnet. Just so much work going into that, and the implications for the ecosystem are absolutely enormous. So it's great to have Zendoo on testnet. It will be orders of magnitude more important for us to have Zendoo on mainnet, because that's where you see the real kind of ecosystem advantages and value accrual of demand for Zen to operate sidechains of all sorts, everything from little play sidechains that might have a play game on there to commercial grade sidechains with very large enterprises that may want to build in our network. And all of that, I think, will have huge implications for the ecosystem and drive a lot of it. This is the key, a lot of external value into the ecosystem. So we don't want to just be in the game of Zen being valuable because of speculation. I think that's not the game that we want to play at all. What we want to do is provide actual utility and have people come into the ecosystem because there are utilities that they want to pay for. So this is all on our horizon, so to speak. Really a lot going into it. And then next year with the 2021 roadmap, expect to see more specific applications of Zendoo. And here I'll say I'm very interested in, from the foundation perspective, infrastructure applications, things like the voting system that we've been talking about for a while, and then other interesting things that I think would be very important for growing the ecosystem.
And Rob, this is Rob. To add on to that, totally agree with you with the different areas of focus. And from the Zen Blockchain Foundation side, we've always said we're going to have the things like the voting system, the node tracking system, and then we can look at what other features we can put on the sidechain. So the exciting thing about beta is it shows it's a real system and allows people to start developing those sidechain applications as in parallel while we're getting ready to take the sidechain system to the mainnet. But this is one of those things where you can't actually figure out what all the applications are going to be until you get the system in place and running. So we have the system in place and running now with the beta, and as people start creating applications for it, we'll see which ones work the best and which ones people have a demand for. You can go out and ask people what they want, but a lot of times people don't know what they want until they can see what's possible. That's the whole story behind the iPhone or the iPod even. People didn't want it because they didn't know it was really possible until they saw it, and they're like, of course I want it. So this major step, and why this is so important today, this milestone, is it lets us then see what gets us to the next level. So anyway, thanks.
Great. Well, I guess, and I think that this was an amazing Weekly Insider. For sure, exciting times. Thank you all for being here. I hope to see you all on our next Weekly Insider. And, well, I guess that's it. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you for joining, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.